Hi everybody, greetings from Mexico. And yes, I was in the UK and I've been quarantining, isolating since early March actually. And it's interesting because last week I've been supposed to go to do be at a gathering of tribes in Israel, and then I was supposed to be in Ibiza, and I really knew I wasn't supposed to be in the UK, and I'd kind of felt into the timelines, and it felt like a block about being there, and also in my original planning, it had not been for me to be there. And I just wanted to share some tools with you all. Obviously, I'm in a unique situation. I don't have children, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have a car. So, you know, I have a different setup than a lot of you, but it doesn't mean that you can't apply some of this. And I guess I had a friend who did, I said, please check your crystal ball. I feel like I can't see beyond a certain date, which was last week. And then she looked at my chart, and thank you so much, Megan, and said, yeah, you should get out of the UK. And I was sitting, lolling around and doing this whole, the UK version of isolation and feeling quite lethargic. And I know these are things that we have to go through. And a lot of people are talking about, you know, this is a very interesting time to be stuck and to investigate things. But I actually spend a lot of time in retreat and hermiting. And I was feeling like and I was also, I didn't really have a place because I don't have an address there that I can live in. And my dad is over 80. And, you know, there are things that I couldn't go home, you know? So it was interesting because I was sitting with myself and my monoblob. And then one morning I woke up, and this is something I have to do sometimes, and I just had to encount the universe. I'm a sovereign being 3 times. And about 20 minutes later, my guides just went, just book a flight to Mexico. And I have spent my last bit of money, and I'm in my overdraft as well, to be here. But this is a place where I personally do my retreat and dreaming, and the whole situation of even getting here, you know, it was actually fine, but it's quite daunting being in an airport where there's only 5 flights leaving a day that's normally got 3 runways open and flights leaving every 5 minutes. But I knew I had to be here. I was supposed to be here, and everything just opened up, whereas Israel and Ibiza had closed, and rightfully, and I understand that timeline and why those gatherings are not happening. And where I come to is this land when I do my big detoxes and a lot of inner work. So this leads me to say a little bit and to share a few themes, and also something linked to the astrology that we're coming into, because we're coming out of Saturn Capricorn, which is very grounded, into Saturn Aquarius, which is a lot more about being more free-willed and slightly going against the grain if we have to, and sometimes being utopian or dystopian. I'm taking that bit from Lada Duncheva, thank you so much. And yeah, you know, they don't do authority very well. And I was starting to feel the English fear story, and I've done a lot of research in the last bit of time, and that was all really, really helpful. But there was something that was just like, actually, I'm just stagnating here rather than I'm in my home, and it feels like, okay, I'm in the lockdown that my body and my soul needs, especially as somebody who does a lot of these little retreats anyway. And the minute I went, okay, I'm going to Mexico, and all the flights booked really easily, it was like, okay, wow, I can see and what I have to do for me and my own cultivation and my own relation to what is COVID-19 teaching me. I can do it better. So I wanted to explain to you the concept of free will and sovereignty. because this is really important as Saturn comes into Aquarius. And there's this little flirtation with Saturn and Aquarius for around 3 months. And that just came in late March. So this is why some people are having this, so do I be really obedient about lockdown? Do I break the rules? And that's because the Capricornian and the Aquarian are kind of like having this dance. And I was really grateful for watching Lada Duncheva's beautiful post about this aspect and how what it means for power structures and historical cycles. And what she says is it's actually very important. It's not saying go out and cause, you know, horrible things and be super naughty. It's about a little bit of kickback, because a lot of what is going on is too much fear-based, and we're all being very obedient, and that's fine, but actually it's not coming from high spiritual law. And oh, I've got chai cooking, so you're just gonna have to come with me to my chai. Oh, very good. Okay, thank you. So free will is something that is part of what we have come to Earth to learn. And free will is not, oh, I can't be bothered, or being selfish. Free will is really tuning into what our soul feels it really needs. And sometimes that actually means asking for something that, or just being a bit daring. So some people would say that we have about 20% free will. So we have to take what the cosmos gives us. And the coronavirus is here for everybody. It's in some way. I will be talking a little bit more about that soon, about privilege or non-privilege and how COVID's working for different groups. But it's really important for us to exercise our free will. So the minute I reminded myself that I'm a sovereign being, it opened up for me to come where I will be more useful in my monoblob. And yeah, it's a whole soul thing. I'm just like, right, that's it, that's the last of my money. But I actually know that I'll be productive here, and I will be more beneficial to the communities when they come out of this and along the way, because I'm looking after myself better and I'm not stuck in limbo. So if you are feeling that way, and it's really important to investigate. I think for so many people this is so brilliant, because so many people are getting this retreat that they really needed. And I'm super grateful, because I've been wanting more time to really work on course development and visioning for the next few years. And I'm in the right place now to do that. But I did have to. And it's actually essential that I am here, number one, because I do not thrive in cold weather because of lung conditions that I've had. Secondly, I've had the virus in a different way. I had it internally without the lung thing, which was brilliant because my lungs are healing. And thirdly, because I now, with the research that I've got, have tools that I can give to my brothers and sisters here in Mexico who do not have access to medical health care. So that's what I'm busy doing. And that protocol and that list and that compilation will be available for everybody very soon. So I am actually more used getting this to people from non-privilege and utilizing my privilege to spend the last bit of income to go to a non-privileged country. And that's what I can do because I don't have dependents and I don't have a mortgage and blah, 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 blah. And I live very much just intuitively and in a flow. And of course that's brought up things for me, because I was actually going to Ibiza to live there and I got stopped in my tracks. But now I'm like, okay, it's not time yet. And I'm having to work more on other things. And I'm going to be really excited when I get to go there. So it has brought up a lot for me about, oh, I really thought I was really joining community. And actually there's a lot of people working behind the scenes in different places, all getting ready now, because we're really yearning community now in a different way. So there's a great healing taking place for that. And I'm working behind the scenes with systems and hubs and looking at how that looks. And actually we're going to really want it when we come out of this. So how do you call your sovereignty in? And what is sovereignty? So a sovereign it's like a king or a queen. But sovereignty does not mean we need to act like a king or a queen. And I find that there are issues around us trying to align with things that the feudal system brought in and hierarchy in that way. We're all a divine being. We are all a king or queen of something, but we don't need to be like that all the time. So, so being sovereign is about being free and knowing, connecting with higher law and spiritual law about being really where we are in our highest connection. And sometimes if 3D law that's coming in from a government who are firefighting, who are terrified, who maybe didn't take precautions early enough, or who didn't have a healthcare system that could support things, when they come with their things, and I think we all respect why they've got to do that, but if it comes in and it's actually affecting your free will or your sovereignty, and it's preventing you from delivering your highest soul purpose, then you can have a talk to Cosmos, because actually there may be a law that is higher that says actually you should be getting on a plane and you need to expand into that. So why I'm here today is to tell you, please, as you're sitting here with all your stuff coming up, it's really, really useful to start to identify who you are as a sovereign being. Now, there are sovereignty movements around the world, and you can look them up as well. There's a lot of very big stuff about how our birth certificate signs us off to being an asset of the country that we're in, and that we're just figures, money figures, and we're played for stocks and shares. And some people go through very, very deep processes in the common law and sovereignty movements to declare their sovereignty for themselves and other people. And this has been a big thing for Indigenous people. I've worked quite a lot with quite a lot of Indigenous people, and it's been an honour to witness them, and many of them have to be the warriors of their tribe, often without using their first language, going to law courts and proclaiming and actually calling the law ahead of the actual judges, and having these huge victories that have increased their rights. And also what happens is when a person does that, their feeling of being a sovereign, of knowing that we are a bigger essence than what some 3D dictate can throw on us, can help. And that doesn't, I'm not trying to say everybody you should go and just abolish everything, total anarchy, far from it indeed. But sometimes you will find in your body that there is an aberration because you are not reaching your highest potential. And this is where I really want to ask you to map and to call that in, and then to act accordingly, because actually the cosmos will open for you, and because you're doing it, because it is actually essential in natural law that you're in the right place. So I feel that at this time, in order to honour the Saturn in Aquarius, just need to let you know you have that. It's a little hack on your soul to help you to be where you need to be. Okay, and sometimes beautiful things will open up. And I am not talking about going into conflict with anything. I do not believe in going into polarity or duality, and that's why, much as I honour my First Nations brothers and sisters and what they've had to go through because of what the ordeals they have every day, I am not here to be banging against things in that way. My thing is to be totally connected to source and to higher teachings, and to go above, because that's the true law. And to honour that those 3D laws exist for a reason, but also to know that there are usually higher principles. And some of these are seen in things like the mat energy, which is in Kemetic wisdom. And you can also do a sovereignty declaration. These are pretty chunky, but these help you to clear your field from being connected to porn or corporations or mass media or advertising or things that take your energy and take your sovereignty. So I'm going to put the links. There's one from Sovereign Key that we found a few years ago, I think by Charmaine Berry, and there's one, if it's still up there, with Andrew Bartzis, the Galactic historian, which he's put together. So you can see which one resonates for you. I really recommend that as you've got some free time, that you encant this more than once to the cosmos, and it will help you to re-navigate where you are right now, because this is a time that a lot of people are just, I think we all have to go through that. We have to go through the stasis and the paralysis, and this is part of us as being um, uh, recoronated. As I'm loving Charles Eisenstein's work, by the way. You know, he's just an amazing mind on the planet at the moment. So check out his work as well on Corona. But basically, you can really open yourself to be then calling in a higher reality, because many of us who have been enslaved by the 9-to-5 system or whatever hadn't had time to think about it. And I think a lot of people are now going, whoa, I don't have to do that, but still feel somehow enmeshed and entangled in it. So if you declare your sovereignty right now, this is going to really help. And I am declaring this right now. I'm making a little portal of this on 4/4 and making it from Mexico City, because here in Mexico, they have got a slightly more avant-garde approach right now to the virus. And I'm interested to see how that plays out. I'm still going to be doing what I always do here, unless I've got an event and quarantining. But in warmer weather with more nature around, and also I feel it's really helpful that I'm observing from a developing country, because I think we need more lenses on that aren't from our Eurocentric perspective. So I'm going to be sharing those over the coming times with you. Right. Thank you for listening. This went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but there's a lot of links in here, and I look forward to sharing them in the box below. Take care. Ciao, ciao.